All right, loading in to Mind Sanity's PengWin versus, I believe it is Vortex Gaming's Kozan.
Cool. He has a Protoss logo, even though he's the Terran. He's a
Ah,
traitor.
yep, Probe. Oh man, I can't remember. There's an Australian player named Probe, and I don't think he plays Protoss, but it doesn't come to me. No, he does play Protoss. There's a couple. Oh, Space Marine would play Protoss.
Yeah.
Was
You get that sometimes on Lando when you're not paying too much attention. They're called Terran,
oh yeah.
but they're Protoss, and you just like you open up like against a Protoss, and you're like, oh shit, it's a Terran. I've done that a bunch of times.
That's when I've had my most innovative moments. I feel like though, I've been like, whoa! I opened up Forge Fast Expand versus Protoss. Hey, let's see if it works. I don't know. We'll see how this all pans out. Here we are though on Dusk Towers in the top right-hand corner. From my insanity, it is the Green Zerg player, PengWin. And you want to do the intro?
Okay, so and of course, pointing down at the bottom left here on Dusk Towers, representing Vortex Gaming, I think you said, we have the blue Terran. It's going to be Kozan. And unfortunately, I don't know anything about him. Of course, PengWin, someone I've known for many years. Like I'm chilling with him at DreamHack, and yeah, he's gone up to Grandmaster level on NA. I think he's hit it maybe on EU.
Yeah, I think he's on EU GM.
Yeah, or if not, sometimes he doesn't play enough to actually drop all his bonus pool, so he can't actually get Grandmaster because sometimes you fall out. So he's a very good player, very accomplished in my opinion. And we can see here that the Terran is of course going to go for that Reaper opening, which is perfectly standard, while PengWin's gone for the hatch first into the gas and pool. So he's not going for like a triple hatch. He's not going for the frontal hatch either, which sometimes you do see players do. So he's just playing a bit safe. Like if he doesn't know Kozan as well, he's going to play a bit safe and then get to feel out his opponent.
Yeah. Better be safe than sorry and not get too overconfident versus a player that may be lesser to you, but you don't really know. And also, as you were mentioning before, it's really important about the Terran openers. Yes, Kozan is opening up Reaper Fast Expand, but I really, really, really love in Legacy of the Void that you can throw down a reactor and go double Marine, or take a quick factory to use that gas. You're not required to go Reaper Fast Expand each game, while maybe in Heart of the Swarm you're a little bit more inclined to. So I like the variation. Legacy of the Void has been turning out to be incredibly cool, build order-wise, overall.
Yeah, that is definitely very true. It makes it a bit more funky as well because then obviously it's harder for your opponents to figure out what you're going for because with all the options. But we do have the Reaper making its way across the map. Like it's not really going to get many kills. Normally like 2, 3, maybe 4 Zerglings. If you can get anything more than that, that's always a bit of a win. But for the time being, it's just to disrupt the Zerg and just like limit a bit of mining time by blowing like the workers away with the KDA charge. But Zergling speed is underway. We have 2 queens and
Ooh.
there's the reactor factory.
Reaper could have denied that third hatch to the drone moving down to it, but looks like it's going to jump into the main. Dusk Towers is not the best for Reapers, simply because there's less surface area for these Reapers to get up into the main base. But with a Queen and Lings, it'll be pushed away, and hopefully it'll scout that third. Looks like it won't scout the third, and it's going to pull back from there to help that Marine. Taking, not really help the Marine, but save the Marine. Looks like the Marine also going to be able to pick up a nice Overlord kill. Overall, I like what Kozan's doing, but it's incredibly key that he spots that. If he doesn't know it's there, it could be a hatch gas pool easily into roaches, which is a meta we have been seeing arise a little bit more in TVZ.
Yeah, absolutely. Like it's a third hatch, so he needs to know it's up to play accordingly to react to it. He does swap the reactor onto the factory there, and it looks like a tech lab for the starport. So I know exactly what he's going to go for there, but it's probably going to be something like maybe the Banshee, or if we see well, we got a double gas, so we could possibly see a fusion core with Liberator upgrade.
Oh,
Let's,
that would be really cool.
but
Something
if
we're
not, it's
seeing a
probably,
little bit more in TVZ.
yeah, it's it takes a bit of dedication, or it's a a big dedication and resources to go for that. But he's going to
Ooh,
go for the
cloak.
cloak, which is I gotta be honest, you don't really see as many cloak openings
And
from
that's been
Terrence.
something I've been wondering Legacy of the Void recently. Really, where does that Banshee have a place in the meta games? Number one, Liberators, even though you have to commit a few seconds to each base to shut them down, or to kill stuff with it, you can't just run in and run out. It's still, you can hunt Overlords. They're so versatile, they have so many utilities, but it'll be Banshee on with Hellion. It's going to be incredibly potent. It's not going to be a poke at the back. It's going to be a full frontal attack. And here the Hellions of Kozan move in, not that many lings to defend, and then maybe be able to push back this Queen.
Yeah, she's taking a little bit of damage. Taking her out the back because he doesn't want to lose them. And the second queen does pop out, so that will zone out the units here. But he's kind of going for a bit of a Heartless Home style where, you go Reactive Factory into Cloak Banshee. Sometimes then you do like the Hellbat timing. And we can see here he is at on more barracks. So he's going to end up playing bio with a bit of mech. So it's not going to be like full mech or full bio. And wow, PengWin actually going to drop a Spire here, which it deals with Banshees pretty well, but the Banshee is going to make its way. It does get scouted by the Overlord, so he does have a heads up here to get that detection.
It'll be great to deal with that Banshee, but overall, when I've casted PengWin, I've casted him a lot recently, especially in DreamHack qualifiers. He loves Baneling, Ling, Muta, and that's just what he does. Doesn't really matter what his opponent is doing. For now, the Banshee will reign supreme. Spire still got many, many seconds until it's done, but the Queen and Overseers will be able to push this Banshee back. Barely it's going to survive into the natural, but it spots the Spire, which should be the most important thing right here. Now, Kozan knows what to do, and I almost wonder, as you were mentioning, with kind of a mech biofusion, if he just goes for an all-in into the third base of PengWin at this point. Doesn't even try to go to that Baneling Muta stage of the game.
Yeah, I think that Baneling Nest was a bit of a defensive one in case like a sort of Hellbat attack came, because that's the best way to defend with it. So it's more of a safety net, I believe. He does have his E-base coming up though, the Terran, so the turrets should be added on quite soon. Just one in the mineral line, protect himself, and just play it safe for the time being, because Muta's like they're still good, but they can get a bit hard counted easier now in Legacy of the Void with like Liberators and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. It's rough too. From the perspective of the Terran, we don't really see Corruptors that often, but as you were mentioning before, it's pretty variable. The meta is not completely set in at the moment, and I have seen a couple Terran, pardon me, Zerg players in TVZ in any of the matchups. You just like, psych, I'm going to go some Corruptors. It'd be great here because you shut down the Banshees and then go use some Caustic Spray and something else. But for now, Banshees both cloak in. There's not going to be quite enough for one of them to defend, and the Overseers will be slightly delayed, allowing these Banshees to get more kills, but overall, it's going to be shut down quite thoroughly.
Yeah, he did. He ended up getting 10 kills from that, which is fairly decent.
That's pretty good.
For two Banshees. And like he gets a good bit of information. I don't really think he properly scouted that Spire, because like you have to be very careful finding new Banshees again. So like you could save them, and then when they start attacking you, then you can fly them in, and it's going to be harder to clean them up because the meters have to return, or you can buy time by making them return. But the meters fly into the main to get a single Marine just chilling there, and they are going to get an add-on. It looks like he's kind of baiting the units up into the main base. There's Stim.
At the same time, Lings are going to flood into the third base. We have some Hellions and Widowmines ready, but they're not going to be ready quite in time. Looks like the Lings are going to be a little bit wary about that army and pull back, but at least it was a multi-pronged attack, and even if it doesn't do damage, at least if you don't lose everything, you all are pulling your opponent apart. That is Kozan getting a little bit wary. Okay, hit my main, hit my natural. But with that early Banshee play earlier, it really delayed his Liberators, and I'm surprised are we even going to see Liberators here? Looks like he's just going pure bio.
I think he's most likely going to do that. Yeah, like it's one or the other from what I've seen. Like you either go Liberator or it's nearly always Liberator or the Banshees.
Oh yeah. You almost need Liberators anyways, just because into that mid to late game, if you allow the Zerg to get Ultras, your bio, don't even imagine you can kite that well with bio. Like you need Libs.
Absolutely. Now the army supply does definitely favor the Terran here, and he is moving out. The meter is of course unable to do that much economic damage. The third base is exposed as well, so he could possibly bring the units back if he went for that, but he hasn't overcommitted. He knows the units are moving out, and I like the way he's taking out the rocks here just to protect his future fourth, which is now underway.
It's great. You also
Karen.
That is really great. Right now, we have a small Bioforce pushing out and taking some of this creep away, but a huge Baneling Ling force is moving in. 13 Banelings go off, and they're going to decimate this force, but there's so much bio left. The Mutas are not going to really have enough to do anything against this bio. The Banelings did get some great hits, but the splits were good for Kozan, and there was a majority of Widowmines which took the brunt of the hits. For now, this bio is going to go almost completely undeterred. Yes, we have 40 more Lings on the way, but it's going to be at the cost of this fourth hatch.
Yeah, it's only a hatchery for the time being, so he's able to buy himself some time. Zugn's now popping, but of course, he doesn't really have the time to morph in some Banelings, and
maybe they can surround him?
Maybe, but he's got reduced surface area and reinforcements are coming up, so it's going to be a bit hard. Meters are targeting the medevacs, which is really good for PengWin, because that does limit the healing, and it limits the drops, limits everything there, so it's pretty good to go for the medevacs. And at least he pushes it off for the time being, but he's down by 4 workers. He does take another fourth on the right hand side of the map, but as we can see that like the Terran's got the map control, he doesn't really have to return, And maybe like the medevacs are a bit low, so repairing those would be good. But he has a map awareness, so Penguin for the time being is a bit blind. He's just like pretty much got to
Oh yeah, with
defend.
that creep getting pushed back, he's in defensive mode completely.
Okay, he does kind of see them with the creep tumor right below, so he's coming
Oh, the
down the
Widowmines
banelings
aren't going to be
almost in.
down in time. So the meters in
He
the back
pulls
of the
back.
army will cut off some reinforcements. The Widowmines are incredibly the backbone of the army. That's how you have to fall back as Terran. But after them getting cleaned up and going off on some banelings, the Marines and Marauders are getting sectioned off. And now all these medevacs and Marauders are going to be taken out. But will they be able to secure this extra base killed? Looks like barely they're going to be able to, but the mutas looking like they may clean them all up.
Just about. There's only a couple of Marines left. Widowmine does blow up, but a couple of them getting a lot of damage done. But
Oh,
he
they
doesn't
don't get
focus.
that base.
Yeah, but he didn't focus by the mutas either. Which if he did that with the Marines, he would have got like an extra 3 or so. So the base does finish up. The gas is already ready to go, so this can get saturated. And Penguin does need a bit of a drone production just to get ahead of the Terran right now because it's 58 v 64. So like he's not really going to overtake him economically, and he might catch some units in the center of the map if he decides to go for this.
Plus, there's a fourth orbital command back home for Kozan. There's so many mules. This economy is going to be skyrocketing. Unless Penguin can push this back, take a base of his own. But the Widowmines go off huge damage into these mutas. Some Marines are going to be reinforcing. Finally, there's a couple more Marines, but GG. Penguin can't quite do it. Kozan takes game one, and I will say, he had a really nice spread of Marines and Marauders. Often you see one player committing a little bit to too much. But with those Marauders being added in almost at the perfect number, it provides a great force not only to fall back on like Widowmines, but to snipe some of those bases really quickly.
Definitely. I like towards the end there, you still targeting medevacs, which is it's good to kill them, but at the same time, if you're taking damage, like kill the units.
Oh, yeah, it's rough.
Yeah, he was losing a couple of mutas there, which you don't really want to lose. Like they're really expensive. So maybe a bit change of priority there, and like go for the Marines because once you kill them, like the medevacs are supposed to boost away anyway, and you could chase them down and kill them. So yeah, next time like that's a good idea, I would say.
And you mentioned this a few times, but that the third CC of Kozan was open. There wasn't a missile turret. There wasn't that many bio Marines right there to push back the mutas. If they could have made that decision earlier on while Kozan was in the middle of the map to hit that base, maybe he could have pushed it back and deterred the entire attack. But Kozan, man, he smelled blood in the water. He was going for the 3-base play. He was not going to go into a big old macro game. He was going to try to end Penguin. I'm a little bit worried for Penguin, only because he always goes... He almost always goes Baneling Muta. I've seen him go Roach once, and that was like a 6 Roach opener on Alrena. He loves Baneling Muta. But if Kozan can identify that, it's easy to punish. There's this huge span of time where it's just some Banelings and Lings, and you're saving up for the Mutas where you can't afford to make even more Banes, or you're hurt all over.
Yeah, absolutely. Like he did have a pretty decent defense. Like I think like he should have waited for maybe the Terran to move more onto the creep and then go for it. But
That'd be a good idea.
But here we are jumping into game number 2 on Ruins of Siraz.
Into the top right, yeah, Ruins. I want to say Sarah sometime, like Ruins of Sarah. The top right-hand corner, we have the Green Zerg player from My Insanity. It is Penguin.
And of course, down to the bottom left, currently 1-0 up in the lead, so one game away from moving on. Representing team of Vortex, we have Kozan. And, this setup kind of favors Penguin as the Zerg here. The further you are away from your opponent, the better you are, because obviously, like, they like that space, they like that time to react. So, this definitely does favor Penguin here.
Yeah, this will help him a lot with that Beeling Muta style he enjoys playing. Curious to see if he goes 3 hatch before pool. Maybe some of the early aggression from Kozan could somehow punish that, since he will spot the 3rd hatch this time instead of last game. Even though it didn't come into effect incredibly, you just gotta remember, he didn't scout a 3rd hatch, and he's like, ooh, what's going on right here? But Kozan playing the normal TVZ meta, Reaper, Fast Expand, and Penguin also doing the normal thing, hatch, gas, pool overall.
Yeah, like I definitely would suggest doing a Reaper opening on a map like this. All positions are available, so it can take quite a while to scout. And, the Reaper doesn't really do that much. It's more intel, so it's not as big of a deal if it doesn't get there immediately like it used to be in Heartless Swarm. So this should be perfectly fine for him. And I don't know if, like, this is a good Liberator map as well, as opposed to Banshees. So we might try and see that, because there's a lot of dead space around the bases. And, you can sneak in there, get a lot of economic damage done if your opponent isn't exactly prepared for it.
Yeah,
And
that
even
was
then,
another.
like, carry on, sorry.
Oh no, no, that was another really unique thing from game one. Is in he opened up with that Banshee play. You almost never see that. Sometimes in TVT is really the extent of the Banshee because Liberators not only can shut down bases, but they also can go after, of course, the Overlords around them. So I'm curious whether he'll do that again. So you're saying there is a lot of dead space for them to shut down bases, but he may be like PengWin. I'm going Mira and you can't stop me. I'm going Banshee and that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Like sometimes you just like you have the premeditated build, and that is exactly what you're going to do. The factory is in production with the reactor, so thus far an identical build. The Reaper hasn't scouted just yet, so he's nearly there as he makes his way towards the top right here. And I think like Liberator would be a much better choice. Like also like
I
Liberator
agree.
is a pain because you don't have to pre-guess it, but you have to have stuff in place unless you want to take like a ton of damage. So
Oh,
all
the
the
Queens
Reapers,
and Lings. Queens and Lings in a beautiful position to push this Reaper back. Sadly, the Reaper's only got one way out of this base and is going to have to go through another Queen. Maybe
and he's dead.
completely shut down. Yeah, he's dead, but he spots a layer morph again. It's pretty good.
Yes. He doesn't scout the double gas being taken at the natural, which he would have just missed. Which kind of sucks for him because he sees one gas and he's like, okay, this is like one gas layer. So he might think it's, like roach speed attack or something like that.
Nidus
Yeah.
Network is pretty common if you see two base
Yeah.
with two gas and a layer. That'll come up, especially on Ruins of Ceres with the largeness of the main. But no, he's going Banelings. So I feel like in this position, Kozan would be like, okay, cool, you're going Banelings. All right, we have that established. I'm just going to fall back and do my own cool thing. And there's the Liberator Pewee.
Yeah. And the Spire as well for PengWin. So he's definitely going for this. He goes for the Baneland Nest quite fast here, which normally you see players rush up the Spire, then the Baneland Nest, then the upgrades for like 1-1 and Baneland speed. So he's doing it a little bit different. He goes for the Baneland Nest, then adds on the Spire. And, he probably could take a faster third on a map like this. So we should keep an eye on that to see it get added on. And 37 workers V31 scan does get dropped to see the Spire. And yeah, like I said, like the meters are good, but they're not hot's good in my opinion. Like you can't mass them as crazy as you could in other games. So yeah, like I would say like 10's a nice good number. Just fly in, get add-ons, get the medevacs, stop the drops. But overcommitting and going like mass meter is it's a little bit risky these days with how much splash damage the Terran has against air.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, really potent on doing a little bit of harassment here and there. But if you get heck, if you get like 4 or 5 Liberators, you just decimate them in a few seconds if they're all clumped up. Literally, they evaporate in just a couple seconds. This game, Kozan, he's really committing into Liberator. Hasn't done much aggression with it across the map so far. Wonder if PengWin thought that was going to hit him, like with, as you were mentioning, with the earlier Baneling Nest. Wonder if he thought there was going to be that early pressure from Kozan trying to stop him before he got up to that Spire tech.
Definitely. I think he saw the Spire and he's like, well, like if I send my Liberators across the map, they're definitely going to die. So I think he wants to bank a couple of them and then maybe move out with one big push instead. So he's like we can't say for certain, but I believe that's what he could be doing. And I like that because he's reacting to his opponent. He's not going to overcommit and chuck away his units. And the Miners are, of course, on the field, making their way down the map. We have 10 workers in production behind this as well. So PengWin's going to have their economic lead in a second with that third base. And how many turrets do we have? We have
A couple turrets around the map. One in the main, 2 in the main. One is in the really big dead space in that main, though. But for now, it doesn't matter because the Liberators are going to shut those mutas down. The mutas have to fall back. There's only 8 mutas currently out of the map. But not only the Liberators, the Marines are being repositioned. I guess this could leave the natural base at potential jeopardy. But it's a ton of damage taken to those mutas. And what do they get a Liberator for it? Didn't even snipe attack.
They killed the Liberator. Like none of them died, which is the important factor because of how fast they regenerate their health. So that's actually not so bad. And he might get like this depot at the corner of the base here, which is another nice little pickup. And what this kind of does is also like it forces the Terran to stay here until he's ready to move out, which I don't think he's going to be for a little bit. He doesn't have his stim yet. It's not in production, but he does now start it. But that's still like you can't really move out until you have your stim. So this could allow PengWin to kind of take a big lead because he has freedom to do whatever he wants, which right now is going to be just upgrades and workers and like a couple of extra units.
And it also gives PengWin, with keeping these meters in the bottom left, the opportunity to see, as you were saying last game, there was an open third base, no missile turrets. Gives him a lot of time on the side of the map, and he may be able to snipe one of these Liberators. Looks like he won't be able to. Pulls back, the third base is secured, but the Marines are going to have to go up into the main. Meters are going to trade in the main, maybe? But again, that leaves now the third base at jeopardy. On a map like Ruins of Saros, with your bases so close to each other, the meter is just going to reign free, and you're not going to be able to move out too long. It's going to be a very long time until PengWin can move out, or pardon me, Kozan can move out.
Yeah, gets the gas geyser 2 workers, like that helps. He's also creeping on the possible fourth base, so that's nice for the future. And 1-1's about to finish for him, which, unlike last game, he was behind on upgrade. So he was fighting, I think the first fight was 0-0 v 1-1, and then the second fight was 1-1 v 2-1, or 2-2-1. In the Terran's favor, so that makes a huge difference. And of course, the Zerg always kind of wants the upgrade advantage because they'll always fall behind on 3-3. But I can see that PengWin is getting his hive quite fast.
Oh, what am I? Doesn't look like it'll kill anything, but still a lot of damage, and the mutas have to pull back. Just to note, PengWin. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say like a Widowmine will kill a meter with a single hit, so he does lose 2 there and a bit of splash damage onto the others.
At least the mutas survive, and now PengWin, off the back of this, all this harassment and just having a soft contain his opponent has allowed him to secure a 4th hatch, but more importantly, Hive and +1/+2 melee are on the way. Man, he's getting a free ride to what every Zerg wants, the Zerg heaven of, I'm just going to go up to Ultras and hopefully overwhelm with that, and that's getting a little scary for Kozan. He needs to do some damage, he needs to deny some base, and he's going to move out, but with the mutas still live and in the bottom part of the map near his base, it's on his side of the map, they're going to push in and do damage and maybe even pull him back.
Yeah, the only problem is, okay, there is a Zergling at that watchtower, so he sees the army move out.
Beautiful.
And, normally when you see your opponent's army move out and you have a hyper, aggressive unit or like a super fast unit like the meter, you just kind of try to find that window because, like, he could pick off another gas geyser, bring the units back, buy himself more time, which, of course, the Zergs always want because his economy isn't absolutely amazing. It's pretty much even, spot on for most of this game with the Terran, so the Terran with the meals does have a slight advantage there. And I know I would put the upgrades and tech in his favor, but units, there's a few more Terran units on the field, which you have to have a really good engagement against stuff like this, which with Banes can be a little bit hard because the tanks can get dropped, the Widowmines can blow them apart. The Bane is rolling up by themselves. Oh no.
Baneling's complete taken out, but now here's another wave of units. The Siege Tank is not defendable. There's nothing for Kozan to fall back on, and he is stemming into the 4th base position. His entire army is cleaned up. Almost all the medevacs, too. One medevac does manage to get away right there, but the perfect position for PengWin. Pulls the army to the right and then takes out the Siege Tank, and before that fight happened, I was going to say, ooh, I love it. He's got a Siege Tank this time with this fight. He's got a little bit more AoE can fall back onto. It's not quite as gimmicky as the Widowmines. My, oh my, PengWin pulls him completely out of position. A beautiful play in Kozan. He knows he needs to do damage, but there's already 4 Ultras on the way and Chitinous plating Adrenal Glands +2 melee. PengWin is going to be having the composition of a lifetime.
Absolutely, and we should hopefully see 3-3 as soon as this 2-2 finishes up. So if he can get up to that, like getting 3-3 before Terran is always a bit of a big deal in this matchup. We do have a drop line towards main right now of PengWin, as it should be unloading any second. Right into the Ultras.
The Ultras are like these huge puppies, like, no, let me go back. No. Ultras, a little bit strangely, will finally clean that up. The bio is going to try to go down to the 3rd, but the mutas shut it down. And this is the younger brother, older brother. They love hanging out, or I guess sister or whatever. The mutas and Ultras are just going to smash through everything. They're going to move across the map now, and I'm worried for Kozan. He doesn't have this huge thing, okay, I can fall back in economy. You can even see he's got a 4th CC on the way. Pardon me. Yeah, 4th CC. He's desperately trying to get this up. But PengWin's been allowed to attain the dream composition, Pee-wee.
Pretty much. It's like that last fight he won pretty straightforward. So he took a pretty large lead off the back of that.
Oh, yeah.
He's up in workers a little bit. He's on 4 bases, so he will have to take that 5th because the Terran's going to be even quite soon. But yeah, this composition isn't perfect. Yeah, it looks like he might try and force the engagement here. There's a lot of energy on these command centers as well, so he's not been mealing as well as he could have. And yeah, this is a nice army supply advantage.
Right now, the army supply advantage, of course, is to PengWin, but there is 7 Widowmines. Huge Widowmine hits go off, but the majority of them are on Ultras. A very nice Sim City for Kozan to fall back onto, but the Ultras are shredding through the entire 4th. They're completely gone. There's no Liberators to supply the bio with a little bit of extra DPS, and GG! PengWin evens it up 1-1.
Yeah, that was pretty straightforward game. Like that attack that Kozan went for, like he moved up the ramp towards that base, and then the units came around from the left, so they got trapped and killed off. And like, against Circling Bane, you kind of want to run away from it, not into a corner where you can't run anywhere. So
Yeah.
that's why like the engagement went so good for PengWin. And like you said, like he baited the units kind of up there with the Banes, and then he took the bait and just went around for the back. And like at that point, like the medevac didn't do any damage. The meters insta killed that as soon as they got to it. And ultras, are pretty potent, and yeah, the Terran was not expecting that at all so fast.
Everything was downhill. Game 3 will be Central Protocol, and it is the wackiest map out there. There's some certain spawn positions that is, I believe, normally vertical, which are pretty good for Zerg. You can take a gold base as your third, but more importantly, Game 1, the way we saw our Terran player Kozan win was a very strong push into the third base. It was early on, it's a 2-player map. Game 2 is a 4-player map. Wasn't really allowed to do that. It's much bigger, but Game 3 on Central Protocol, much smaller map. It's going to be so much easier for him to make that big, not even all-in, but timing attack work. And I think that may be the way he's got to secure a game against PengWin.
Yeah, definitely. Like, this is like the map that everyone has vetoed. So it's kind of fun to see it played. You see it like 1 in 10 games. So yeah, this is, like you say, it comes down a bit to the spawn locations here. So if it's cross, which it is, that does benefit PengWin massively here. Because also, like, if you're both top, then you can't share that third base. And if you're both on like the right side or the left side, you can also share that third base. So it gets really annoying if you're on the same side. But cross spawns, I feel, is the fairest.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
But because it's a bit of a larger map, then the TVC aspect comes in where the Zerg gets a lot of room, and that makes it a lot easier for them.
And with it being cross spawn, it's to be a little bit harder for the player in the bottom left to do anything about our Zergy in the bottom left. We have the blue Terran player from Team Vortex or Vortex Gaming. It is Kozan. Up 1-1.
Yep, and of course
even 1-1.
Yep. And of course, spawning up to the top right, playing all the way from EU. So he does have a tiny little bit of like representing my insanity. It's going to be a PengWin.
As we're mentioning with those cross spawns, generally I feel like vertical and cross are probably the best for Zerg, because vertical, number one, you get that nice gold base. You can secure a gold base as your third, and really the only one that just sucks for everyone is horizontal. That just sucks for everyone, period. Doesn't really matter what it is.
Yeah, I just don't like close spawns. Like, the architecture of this map is just very odd. Mm-hmm. It's very strange. Like, if you sometimes hit, like, if you're both on the right-hand side horizontally, vertically, like, you have to go for that third, which is at the top center, and it's not that close. So you have to take out the rocks to even get there somewhat close.
I've often seen 3-Rex Reaper, which is what actually Terran Kozan is doing when you're talking about that. 3-Rex Reaper. Now, with cross spawns, it will buy a little bit of extra time for PengWin, and it's just key. The big thing right here is, does he identify with that first Reaper coming across the map or not? Because if he can identify it with cross spawns, easily the Zerg answer at the moment is, let's throw it on a Roach War and pump out some Roaches. But that would be anti-PengWin in general. He likes his Baneling Muta. He'd be going against his own creed.
That is very true. Like, this is one reason why you don't play this map in TVZ, because like this build is so potent. Like, you see it nearly every time. There's so much surface area between all the bases where it just makes it really hard. But the first Reaper's going to make its way up here, get straight into the action. Doesn't drop a charge there, which, gets some extra damage on it. Why not? And yeah, this can be a really hard build to go against.
Like we were saying, though, right now, that PengWin is not 100% privy to what Kozan is doing. He can assume that it's a 3-Rex Reaper, but with that first Reaper, he sees it, pushes it back, he's going to know now, but he's only got 4 lings. Often you see 6 lings if a Terran, or pardon me, Zerg, is really scared about that first Reaper, want to deal with him. But for now, 3 lings go down. A Queen is going to be able to push this back, but the KD8 charges are going to work wonders, and with the original Zerglings being killed, 6 lings to reinforce, easily these 3 Reapers could take him out, and the Queen's gone. It's going to spiral out of control from here for PengWin. It's even throwing down a Roach Warren to try to be safe, but now the entire mineral line is open up to Kozan.
Yeah, this, like, even Queens have such a hard time. Even Roaches, once they hit, like, the Reapers hit a certain count, like, they get destroyed. As we can see, all the KDA charges blowing away the workers here. And that's so much splash damage. Circling speed is done, but they don't get that much damage done. Now, Reaper does get sniped there, which is good for PengWin, but there's still so much damage now. Workers getting pulled, more of them gonna get sniped. And this...
These Lings are getting decent surrounds, but the angles for Kozan have been phenomenal. One Reaper goes down, but allows the rest of the Reapers to kite for a little while. They're all so low on health, but they will not stop this aggression. As long as they stay towards that cliff easily, they can fall back down, throw some KD8 charges up, and regain some health. That's what they're going to be doing right now. Finally, PengWin's Roach run is done. A Roach is on the way, but this is almost the golden opportunity for Kozan to move in and start getting drone kills.
Yeah, this build is so hard to deal with. It's so hard to deal with. Like, the Roaches are now starting to pop, but with this many Reapers, they're still going to have a hard time. Because only 2 of them are popping in the main.
Oh, nice KD8s.
Oh,
Only
man,
2 popping
whips.
in the main, and you gotta remember, there's no injects in the main. It's one hatch injecting, one that's not in. The Reapers, potentially with their kiting, they're gonna get one of these Roaches. With one Roach goes down, there's a couple more Lings, but there's almost enough Reapers, a total of 11 Reapers out on the map, that they can start with Micro killing these. And GG, Kozan, 2-1, beats PengWin.